Hi friends, Renee Keese here with Carolina Creative. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I'm here with card making ideas for you. Today I am working with the traditional labels. I'm going to use the stamps. I'm going to use the die cut labels that come with this and some of the paper that come in this suite. So I've picked out one of these really pretty papers with poinsettias and it has gold foil on it. It's absolutely stunning. And I've just die cut an oval and I've made, this is going to be my focal point, and you can see how I've kind of centered the poinsettias on there. So when you're looking at this paper, you can kind of decide where you want to cut. And this could be any shape. I'm going to kind of make it look like it's almost an ornament, you know, a hanging ornament. So it could be any shape that you wanted. I just picked, you know, a traditional oval. Now, when I was getting ready to start this morning, I couldn't decide which colors to use. So I had two different ideas in my head and I decided I'm going to do them both. So you're going to see two very different spins with different designer paper. One is retired. I just picked out this little leaves and tiny berries because it's kind of subdued. It's not real bold. And I think that this will pop on top of it. So let me flip the camera down to my work area. Right here's my stamp set, and I'm going to try to work right here with all these different colors. So I've got a real red card base, and I'm putting pink behind it. Gee, I wonder where I got the idea for pink. Who would have put red and pink together for Christmas? But it works perfectly when you're dealing with poinsettias. So I've got these two colors. And I have cut my pink just a 1/4 inch small, you know, shorter on all sides. So this is 4 by 5 1/4. Now, I'm going to trim this paper down to 3 3/4. There we go. Like that. And I have a nice scrap for another card. And now I need 4 strips and I need just over 1 inch. So it's like 1 1/8 inches. And I'm going to need 4 of these. Let me make sure I didn't slide that. And just go zip, zip, zip. There's 1. Here comes 2. Here comes 3. And I'll have an extra one left over. 4 out of that 6 by 6 square. Okay, done with that. So I should have 4 equal strips. Now, what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do all my stamping next. I've done the die cut, and because I was going to heat emboss, I went ahead and did that so that it wouldn't make a bunch of racket. So I die cut the pretty double banner. I pulled sending and cheer out of all these stamps to make this say sending cheer, and then just embossed it with the white powder. Pretty simple, but that's my sentiment for the card. So the way this will go together, I'm going to do this card horizontal. So I've been doing a lot of cards vertical, and I thought, well, let's do something different. I'm going to spread these out, and as I glue them down, I will get them even. And then this is going to go on here. My sending cheer is going to go somewhere down here, and then I have a pretty bow. So what I'm going to do first is stamp the inside of the card. And I just want it to say Merry Christmas. So again, I pulled the Merry Christmas right out of this stamp set. I'm going to stamp Merry Christmas, and then I'm going to do a little experiment. So this takes up a little bit of space inside the card. There's still plenty of room to write. You know, you can write a message. You've got all this. I'm going to pick up on the little pink berries here. And I pulled out a stamp set that has those little berry sprigs, and I'm going to do it in pink. I don't know how I'm going to like this. I'm going to do it there, and another one I think down here. And of course I was going fast. So let's make it a double. Good enough. All right, not bad. It's different. I'm okay with different. Sometimes you need to, shake it up just a little. Okay, so I'm going to start from the inside. You've seen me do this numerous times. And I'm going to dot my liquid glue on so I can adhere my insert to the card. I got a little blob there. That should do it. Again, I try to get this straight so I've got an even edge all the way around. and then just flatten it down. Now, I'm ready to start assembling. So you saw, I mean, I did a little bit of cutting before I went live, but there's not that much to this card, but I've got a bunch of layers. I've got the base here, the frame, I've got the strips, I've got my oval or whatever shape. You know, if you had ornament shapes, that would be really cool. And I've got a banner. So really that's like 4 layers on top of the card here. So I think I'm going to work with this frame first, and I'm just going to go ahead and line these up. I like to start from the outside edges. So I'm going to figure out top and bottom, how much edge do I want, and then make it fit on both sides so that it'll be similar. And then the middle ones should just fall right into place and give me that even, you know, about 1/8 of an inch between everything. All right, so let's go. Luckily, and for this, I will use the liquid glue because it allows you to slide it just a little bit if you need to. I love my Stampin' Seal, but sometimes it's just not the right time to use it, and this is one that I would typically not use the Stampin' Seal for because I want to be able to slide and adjust. Okay, I don't know about you, what part of the country you're in, but winter is arriving here in South Carolina. We have a massive cold front coming in, just like about 1/2 of the country, and a severe freeze warning tonight. Okay, so I've got these two positioned. I'm now looking at how much space, you know, between here. I'm looking at how much pink there is to match that up. And we'll do the last one and just center it. And so I've got layers on today. I've got a sweater on. I've been wearing short sleeves, and suddenly it was like, oh, it got cold. Okay. Yep, I think that'll do. All right. Now I'm going to adhere that onto the card base and start working with it as a whole. But I felt like it was easier to do that way. It does help to take the cap off and make sure that you have the tape pulled up. All right, now we're ready to roll. And I literally roll on the adhesive. All right. So center this like that. I'm going to add here my pretty oval. Like I say, you can do so many different shapes with this. You know, get creative. It can be really fun. And I could have put another oval behind it to make this pop. I'm thinking about this in hindsight. You know, I could have put red. I could have put a red layer behind it. That would have looked really cool. Except that then it might detract from my pretty sentiment there. So I'm going to use some dimensionals for the sentiment. Here we go. Oh, that was good. The the protective layer already came off. I didn't have to peel it. Let's grab 2 or 3 of these at a time, and I'm just going to stagger these. I just want enough to support it so that it pops up off the card base. And I think, yeah, I think I better do. I want to make sure that won't show. I think I better do one on the ends here, on both ends, just to support it. This, it bends and folds and moves, and so actually a couple times I've been pulling it out of the die and tore it because it's just a very little connection there. So a lot of times if I'm popping it up with dimensionals, I like to support it. Otherwise, I feel like it will separate. It's these edges here that can actually separate. All right, so sending cheer. I think I'll just kind of center that up. I thought I might put it at a jaunty angle, but now that I see it, I kind of like it that way. And I'm reaching for some glue dots. I want a glue dot for my bow, and I picked out my ribbon that was red and white for this. And I'm just putting it at the very top, adding up. I think I need more than 1 glue dot. That's just not wanting to hold very tightly. So let's pick up another glue dot, and I'll put that, like the glue dot was still stuck on the card. Interesting. So now I've got 2 glue dots to hold it. I could take, this is pretty shiny already. I you know what? I'm not going to add anything. I think I'm going to leave it just like it is. You could put some bling on there if you wanted. So this is card number 1. I went with the red and pink. Was trying to use a little subtle greenery in the background. So that's number 1. I'm going to set that aside. Number 2, I'm doing all olive, old olive. So I have green background, and I'm turning this one to go horizontal. So you already see it's going to look like a totally different card. I wasn't sure how I'd like the green on green, but I do think it's going to make this pop, and I've got a red bow for this. So this time with my banner, I'm going to do something different. Instead of heat embossing, I'm going to use old olive ink. So here's my trick for lining this up. I've done this a bunch of different ways, but with this where I've got 2 different stamps that I'm making this one say Merry Wishes. And the curves do fit, but I'm positioning them where I want them to be. I think I like it like that. And then I'm going to attach it to my block. Okay, so I should be ready to go. And I'm hoping this is going to be dark enough. I assume that old olive on red will be bold enough to show through. So here we go. Like that. Oh yeah, it almost looks black. And that's fine. So let me hold that up. And I'll just show you the contrast between using white with embossing powder or using old olive on red. All right, so those are the parts and pieces here. I did the same thing. I did all the same dimensions when I cut this. So these 4 strips are 3 1/4 by 1 1/8. Now inside the card, I went and found it's from a retired set. Look for the sentiments that you like. So it says Merry Wishes, and then inside I've got it's the most wonderful time of the year. And I'm stamping red because my card base is red. And I think on this, I'm going to stick with the red again. So I kind of like those little berries, even though they were pink on the other card to go with the paper. I'm just going to mix it up and put a little bit in here. Okay, I should be done stamping. So I'm going to close up inks and get them all set aside. So I'm ready to start assembling. Because I pre-cut, this went much faster, but you get the idea. Oh yes, and this was, I like this green on green check, that it is a beautiful multiple shades of red and gold foil poinsettia. So it almost hurt my heart to cut that, but you've got to use the paper. And again, that's why it's nice to have 2 sheets of everything because of the front and back design. So you can use 1 sheet for each. And then not feel guilty. And so I got over it. It didn't hurt my heart too bad, knowing I had another entire sheet that I could use the red side for with all the pretty flowers. All right, just to show you it works, I'm going to assemble this in a different order. I'm going to go ahead and put this on first. So it's your preference. It's whichever way you feel like works best for you, because you're going to see I do it both ways. And now I've got my strips. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start top and bottom and then fill in the middle. Whoa, I went right to the edge. And because of the foil, it's a little slick. So even on those 3 sides, yeah, because I went to the edge, it's also going to want to squish right out. So I nip that in the bud. All right, here we go. Little glue on here, and I'm using new glue. I actually have a new Wink of Stella. I replaced the blade on my cutter, so I was ready to go this morning. I had everything all prepped to make everything efficient. And nice and clean. You know, when you're cutting with a clean blade, it really does make a difference. Okay, so I'm going to leave some space between these 2. I'm going to eyeball where the next one is going to go just to make sure. Yep. And here's the 4th one. So as you can tell, this card will be able to be horizontal or vertical. It's all according to which way you like. So I'm going to center this up a little more because my Merry Wishes will be all the way at the bottom. Okay, so let's glue this down. And again, I could have put another oval behind this to make it pop, but it really does pop on top of that plaid. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. And I'm going to use my dimensionals again. So here we go. This time I'm going to start right at the edge where I know it has that fold that can be very easily separated. Let's just put it that way, easily separated. And I'm going to try to support it so that it can't be separated. Make sure I got that a little too low. So let's do that. All right, and pop off all the backings. And I know I've said this before, but you don't even have to remove all of them if you don't want to. There's enough there to give it support. It's not like we're having to adhere a lot on there. So if you didn't want to pull them all off, that'd be okay. All right, and my glue dots are still right here. And this time I went with the solid red ribbon. There is a really pretty ribbon that comes with this. And it's this solid red linen. And I'm going to make this. I could have put a strip of ribbon there and wrapped it so that it would look like it was an ornament hanging. So there's a lot of different ways that you could do this, but this was just quick and easy. I'm going to play with this. And this is a new Wink of Stella, so I got to get this flowing. There we go. It's just starting. And of course, if I'm not careful, it will come gushing out. I'm going to get a piece of scrap paper here. Where's an old scrap? Oh, I got these little circles I die cut that I know I'm not going to use. Let's see if I've got some shimmer coming. Here it comes. Here it comes. Oh, yeah, and that's what I was afraid of. It was going to come blobbing out. So if I take a gentle hand, oh, this makes me nervous because it's so new. I can, just where it's thick, I can add just a little shimmer to my sentiment, but only on like these, the thickest lines. That's all I'm going to do. But you know what? That is just enough to make it work. So let me show you my two cards. Went a little longer today than I usually like to shoot for, but two different cards. I'm using the strips, use current paper, use retired paper if that's what you want to use up, and cut it in these little, they're 1 1/8 inch strips. The card can go either direction. I see I have a lot of glare because the gold foil is so shimmery. But this was using the traditional labels, so there's a lot of different ways to use these papers. And then the inside was pretty traditional too. Most wonderful time of the year, or just a simple Merry Christmas. So there's my card making ideas for today. If you like the products and the projects you've seen here, you can find me at Carolina Creative or hashtag Carolina Creative. I'm also on the Stampin' Up! Network. It's Renee Keese at StampinUp.net. Thanks for joining me today.